Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly and welcome everybody once again for another video of DIY investing. Markets have been pretty slow over the last couple weeks as we're mainly just waiting for Bitcoin to decide what way is this going to go. Are we going to have to go all the way back down and retest the low 4K range, or are we actually going to be bouncing back up and heading back towards 8K? I'm going to be diving into the monthly close that just recently happened yesterday because this is the most important thing that I can talk about with Bitcoin's price. On top of that, we're also going to be covering two extremely undervalued low cap altcoins that I think have a significant case for a massive ROI in this next cycle. Oftentimes, low cap gems are the best ones that you're going to be able to find to make the highest ROI possible. For the lowest portion of the bear market, now is the best time to be buying, and so I'm going to be sharing with you guys why I highly expect these coins to be extremely underrated and how you guys can actually capitalize on the profit potential to come. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do myself a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. If you guys want access to my Discord server, I have over 4,000 members inside of my server, and it's a really great place for you guys to actually congregate with some other members inside of the cryptocurrency community. So if you guys want access to that, all you got to do is click in the description of this video. There you're going to find the invitation link to my Discord, and then you guys can actually join through that. Now, through my Discord, I also offer some of my more exclusive content like the video course and signals. So if you're somebody that wants to actually educate yourself on how to become a profitable analyst and trader inside of this market so you can do this by yourself, I highly recommend that you guys check out the video course. Now, the signals are actually a way for you guys to copy all of my long-term investments that I'm taking over the course of this next bull run, as well as entries and exits for where I'm going to be taking profits. So if this is something that interests you, make sure you guys join the Discord server. Help me get to my goal for this video of 1,000 likes. That's really what I'm shooting for here. Also, I have another goal of hitting 20,000 subscribers, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel for more awesome updates like the one provided for you here. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for the support. We got a few different charts to talk about today, so let's jump right in this video. So first off, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, and then we're going to dive into the altcoins that I have to talk about. Now, if you guys are noticing my chart looks a little bit different, it's because I'm recording at my friend's house. So that's the reason why my laptop, I had to actually order a new charger cable, so I'm waiting for that one to get here. In the meantime, I have to record at his house. So let's go through here. Now, basically what we're going to be talking about today is this monthly close that just happened yesterday. So we closed for the month of March. Now, kind of what I've been updating you guys with is I said that if we could close above $6,300, then I thought that that was going to be the most bullish case possible for Bitcoin. And if we dive in here, let's actually take a look and see kind of where we closed. Basically, we closed it just over $6,400. Now, this is going to be the BitMEX chart. So we did close above that level. The level I was watching was about $6,300. So we did get a bit of a close above that. Now, the interesting thing and something else, I was pointing out this $6,400 level because this was basically the bottom of these wicks. And this was really the horizontal support floor that we found right before that new year, where we got that bounce shortly after. Now, the fact that we closed above this, even though this secondary candle is below the resistance right now, there's a couple things that I wanted to point out because I still think that this is the most bullish case that could have happened. Basically, what happened, if we drop it to a weekly time frame, these were the things. We had this support floor down here. I did not find it likely that if we were going to actually break this support and fall lower that we were going to break below this, but we actually wicked below this level. Now, the fact that we closed above the weekly, above this level, was a pretty bullish case considering the dump that we had just saw, but the fact that we closed weekly bullish above this level was pretty significant. Now, the next thing that we were watching for was how was this monthly close going to kind of react, and this is exactly what we saw. We continued to see a buyback. We closed back above the previous level of horizontal support at the new year, and now even though we're closing a little bit below this into the next monthly candle, I still think that there's a couple scenarios that we need to be watching for, but I don't think that it's bearish. Now, looking here, I do strongly believe that what we're seeing right now is short-term weakness. I mean, if you look at this, to me, this looks like a head and shoulder formation. And we're getting rejected before we fall lower. And so my guess is the target for this exact setup, short term, I am bearish because this looks a little bit more like more or less. Yeah, so the target for this looks more or less just bearish consolidation. Even if I'm bullish on the long term, the short term looks a little bit weak. Now, to me, I think that we're going to actually fall back down and retest about 5K at least. 5K is going to be my next target inside of Bitcoin because I do expect us to show some more short-term weakness, having us just retrace back into this resistance. I think we'll reject and fall back down to at least 5K. Now, something to pay attention for is the fact that I've been updating you guys with the potential that we could drop all the way back down to these lower wicks down here. I find that these low wicks at about $3,800 to $4,000 are less likely, but I do strongly believe that we're going to hit 5K. 5K is going to be about the 618 from this initial move up. So that's going to be my next target for this potential retrace that I'm expecting to find. So right now, what I'm seeing is opportunity for shorts. I think that we will drop a little bit. Target of this head and shoulder formation puts us exactly at 5K. So that's what I'm going to be watching out for with Bitcoin. But the thing is, guys, the fact that we have closed weekly or monthly above the $6,400 level, even if we short-term sell off into the first of this month, I think that long-term, because we did see such a rapid buyback and we did close above that $6,400 level, that even if we sell off for the short term of this month, long term we're still going to be back up above and maintaining bullish market structure. So that's something to pay attention for. If we drop it back to a monthly, the thing that I'm going to be expecting to watch for, I think that this monthly candle can drop all the way back down to at least 5K, which would put us about right there. So I think that we could drop all the way back down to 5K. It's possible we could come all the way back down to retest these wicks at 3,800. That's the least likely of my scenarios, but I do believe that we'll come back down, retest 5K, and then we should see a bounce right after that. Now, what I would like to see is what's called a bullish pin hammer, and if I show you guys what that is, this is a really bullish candlestick pattern. And let's actually go through here and I'll kind of share with you guys what they look like. So this is a perfect example of one. Basically a bullish pin basically a bullish pin bar or pin hammer, whatever you want to call it, has this big long wick, and then the bullish top of the body candle closes like this. So it's a bullish candle with a big lower wick on the downside. And if we come into Bitcoin, we're going to see that I think that this is going to form. Basically what I think would happen is we would get this wick that would come down to about 5K. We would look just like this. We'd get a wick that would come down to 5K, except this candle body would actually close green. And this would set us up for continuation on the upside heading into the following 3 to 6 months forward. And so that's what I'm going to watch out for Bitcoin. One of the things before we jump into something else, we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin dominance, just briefly talk about some things. This is what I've been updating you guys with pretty consistently because I've said that we're at a very important level. Either Bitcoin dominance is going to uptrend to 79% and really bleed the altcoins for one more low, or the Bitcoin dominance is topped out and we're about to see a massive drop, and in turn we're going to see a big old rally inside of the altcoins. And so the things that I've been updating you guys with was this level here. It's 65% dominance. This was my major resistance level, and what I told you guys in my last update was that if long as we were trending below this, it's bearish, but it's the second that we break above this level and start holding support, then that's going to be bullish for 79%. Now what we're seeing is a lot of these wicks, and these are rejection wicks. These are profit taking wicks. We can see this big one right here, and now we can see that these two candles on the weekly have failed to close and make any sort of attempt at a breakout, and this is actually starting to look even weaker as we record this video. So for me, I think that if I'm looking at the way price is acting, this looks to more like a rejection before we fall back down to about 56-55% dominance. And so that's actually what I'm going to be watching for. But when this happens, you guys got to understand that a lot of money is going to be flooding into these altcoins, and we're going to see a big altcoin rally shortly after this Bitcoin dominance starts to top out. And so that's something I want to talk about, and that's actually what brings me to the point of this video. Now we're going to be diving into the two altcoins that I think are extremely undervalued and have a significant case for a massive ROI into this next cycle. So the first one on the list today is going to be Ripio, or RCN as the ticker goes by. Now Ripio is just a platform. I really do like investing into these platforms. I'm really not super familiar with everything that goes into Ripio, but I just know that this one was part of the D.I.Y 2019 newsletter. So this is one of the older coins that have been ones that he's talked about. Now, because D.I.Y talks about certain coins doesn't mean they're bullish, because some of his picks have downtrended. But when he talks good about a coin, oftentimes he understands the fundamentals, and there's a reason why. Now, this one was on the newsletter, and I actually really liked this one just because of a market cycle perspective. We had this rally into 2017, 2018, we top out, and then we just start selling off. And really, this is just a big rounded bottom formation. And I think that this is a really profitable looking setup. I actually scooped some up. It was about here at 42 or 4 cents. I bought some, and then I actually made some money, held even throughout this dip, and I'm just holding this one for the long term. And so I am in a tiny bit of profit still. But long term, I think that this is a good setup because we've been accumulating here for a significant portion of time. I mean, we failed to break and make a lower low since about here. And so since that time, that's about 400 days that we've maintained an uptrend. But since we've been at about the lowest point of this accumulation, I'd say that we've been accumulating here for about 600 days in this range. And now what's recently happened was we actually broke out of the short-term horizontal support and resistance range. We actually broke out of that, and then we retested this. And so the second that we're actually out, so now that we're actually uptrending outside of this, makes me feel like we're going to start seeing a pretty big impulse coming. And so this is one I have on my radar because I think that long term this one is about as good as one you could get. I do like these platform based cryptos because it just leaves a lot more room for other development to take place and really start pumping this coin as a whole, because you guys got to remember that if there's a lot of other cryptos that are building on your platform and those cryptos start performing really well, that's only going to benefit you and your platform. And so these type of coins are going to perform really well. And so what I see here is just a big rounded bottom. I think that long term we're going to see this one start to pick up steam, and this one is going to go way past beyond all-time high. And so for me, accumulating while it's in this cheap point of the cycle, I see a very perfect accumulation taking place here. This is a big rounded bottom. It does have good consistent volume, and so this is one I think everybody should be watching on that list. Now, before we jump into the next one, let's talk about quickly the Bitcoin pair, because I think that these Bitcoin pairs look even more bullish than the other ones. And we can see that here. The Bitcoin pair really didn't sell off, and in fact this one looks like it's really close to just getting ready to pump. And my guess is if we see another big pump in this market, I would say that we're going to hit at least up here, which would be price percentage wise from where we're at currently would be about 50%. So I think that we could see a 50% move, but I also think that we could hit all the way upwards of here, which would be, you know, probably 150%, somewhere approximately about that. So about 130%, right around there. And so I think that this one is going to be a really profitable setup that we should all be watching for. But realistically, to me, I think that we finished all of the lows. This is just the first impulse, and we should, in theory, now that we're just getting outside of this resistance, we've seen that we've rejected a number of different times off this level, but we're getting really close. I think that it's just a matter of time before we actually break out of that, and I think we're very close to doing so. So watch out for Ripio. Now, last one on the list today is going to be Internet XT. This is one that you can get on crypto.com. I honestly have not heard anybody talking about this. This is one of the lowest cap coins you're going to find out there, and you can see it looks really volatile with these wicks here. Now, the thing I want to talk about today about this one and why I'm intrigued by this is specifically is because it only has a circulating supply of less than a million. So there's like 900,000 of these Internet XT coins, and it's currently worth 60 cents. And so it doesn't take very much money to actually enter into this market for this to really balloon prices up really high. And I mean, at its peak, it was valued at $34. And so if you just bought today and we ended up coming all the way back down up to that all-time high mark, you're looking at about a 56x return. And so out of the low caps, I like to follow these ones because it's kind of just fun money. I don't put a lot of money invested into these. It's just kind of a couple $100 or whatever I can afford. And then I just let it sit on that investment. And then, you know, who knows, 2 years down the line, if this one gets a little bit of traction, it's not going to take very much money, and this one could be valued at over $100. And so I like to look out for these low cap coins because you can make a lot of money with a very least amount of risk. So $100, anybody can risk $100, and you actually have the opportunity to potentially turn that into $5,000 at the top. And that, you know, that's just unheard of money. And so I watch out for these low caps for that reason. Now, what I'm seeing here currently in Internet XT is just a big accumulation pattern. We had the pump, we had the correction, we found our support here, we bounced. This was the bottom of 2018. And then really all we've done is just accumulated sideways. We've really failed to make a significant low. We've maintained support here at this level. And we can see that right here, we've maintained support for a significant portion of time, since about October of last year. And so the fact that we're just holding support here, I think that this is a really good setup. I don't think it's going to get much cheaper than this. It might come back down to retest some of these wicks, which obviously this being a low cap is a 34% drop. But for me, this is one you throw a couple $100 in and forget about. And I think that it could really perform well because there is such a small circulating supply. So this is one that I've accumulated a little bit of. I might look to add to some more positions right now because I think that this is most likely going to be relatively the lowest point that it's going to get. But what we see here is a really solid volume profile. Basically, since the reversal point of the new year of 2019, we've seen a good conglomerate of new buy volume and consistent volume that has entered in this correction. And I think that that's a dead giveaway that this is a very undervalued coin and there is active accumulation taking place. So watch out for this. Anyways, guys, this is the video I had for you. I wanted to quickly talk about some low cap gems that I think are severely undervalued. These ones are going to perform very well, and I'm pretty confident in saying that because based off of a market cycle perspective, these two look really, really good. I don't find it likely that this one's going to continue to go down much longer, and I think that the bottom is in for the majority of these cryptos. Even with Bitcoin, I still think that we could sell off and come back down to 5K, but long term that doesn't change anything. I can still be bearish in the short term, but the long term everything is still intact. In fact, I think that this was the most bullish thing that could have happened for Bitcoin, the fact that we did close back above this major level. I thought it was likely that we were going to get a sell-off back down to 5K anyways, so that's what I'm going to be watching out for, but I'll keep you guys updated as follows. But with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and with all that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.